Chapter 683 Skin 2. What? The girl did not dare to believe what she just heard as she landed in the hands of those followers. Those followers received the orders immediately and held the girl. The girl simply had no time to react. All she saw was that a man had already walked to her with a flaying knife in his hands. The sharp blade slit her soft skin open, and blinding red blood spouted out immediately. How do you do things? Shengguan Rui frowned suddenly. She is too noisy. Pluck her tongue out first. Yes. A horrifying wail rang throughout the black market loudly. A bloody tongue was plucked out from the girl's mouth. A raspy and distorted scream was forced out from her lungs, but the people who grabbed her did not release their grip at all. The flaying knife touched the girl's skin, slowly skinning the warm human skin off from her body. In just the blink of an eye, the girl who initially had a gentle and beautiful appearance had turned into a skinless bloody human, while the beautiful skin was handed directly to Shengguan Rui. As Shengguan Rui looked at the beautiful skin that was dripping with blood and still had a lingering warmth, a twisted smile immediately emerged on his hideous face. Satisfied with the outcome, he gently rubbed it against his cheeks to feel the lingering warmth. An intoxicated expression filled his face. Indeed, a girl's skin is still the smoothest and most tender. Keep it and bring it back. After processing it, place it in my beauty pavilion. Shengguan Rui took a deep breath of the bloody smell and subsequently threw the beautiful skin to his subordinates. The intense smell of blood filled the surroundings. The buyers who were initially interested in buying female slaves were horrified by Shengguan Rui's violent methods. When they saw the skinless girl who collapsed on the ground, their hearts could not stop quivering. Shengguan Rui was born ugly. He had a strange smell and a few defects on his body. In addition, his father pampered him a lot. Thus, his personality was exceptionally twisted and violent. Shengguan Rui's greatest hobby was to collect the skin of the beauties in the world. Moreover, it was by skinning the beauties alive, and the skin would be stored after processing it. He even specially built a beauty pavilion in his residence which was used just to store his collections. The regulars in the black market were already no stranger to this. If those girls who were waiting to be sold were in despair and fear previously, when they saw their previous companion being skinned alive, only an insane fear remained in their hearts. They would at most be humiliated if no one bought them, but if they landed in Shengguan Rui's hand, it would be worse than death. The skinned person would not die immediately, but without the protection of skin, as long as anything came into contact with the wounds, it would cause heart-wrenching pain. This torture was 100 times more miserable than death. At this moment, those girls were already frightened out of their wits. They even pleaded for someone to buy them away quickly as they were unwilling to land into Shengguan Rui's monstrous hands no matter what. However, who dared to snatch with Shengguan Rui? The buyers at the side had already retreated to a side quietly. Even if they witnessed everything, no one dared to utter a word. Shengguan Rui's eyes landed right on the remaining girls on the wooden stage. Chapter 684, Skin 3. I want these few too. What other fresh stocks do you have? Just bring them all up. Don't bring some unpresentable ones to fool me, or I'll remove your skin. Shengguan Rui scoffed coldly and looked at the slave master. His words threw those girls into utter despair. A chill ran down the slave master's spine as he said hurriedly, "Yes, yes, yes. I'll go look for you right now." Then, the slave master immediately led a few people towards the other cages as the girls on the stage were kidnapped away by Shengguan Rui's followers. A girl looked directly at the wealthy businessman who wanted to buy her and pleaded, "I beg you, please buy me. I'm willing to do anything. Please, I beg you." However, that wealthy businessman did not dare to say anything at all. Although he did fancy this girl's beauty, he did not dare to snatch with Shengguan Rui no matter how bold he was. He fled hurriedly under the girl's pleas. While the wealthy businessman had his eye on the girl's appearance and wanted to buy her, he completely dropped that thought with Shengguan Rui here. Weighing his priorities between women and his life, the wealthy businessman obviously could distinguish which was more important. When the girl saw the wealthy businessman leaving the place, expressions of despair filled that girl's face, and her body shook violently. More people gathered in the surrounding, wanting to watch the fun. In this black market, those with money and power were the bosses. No one could dream of overstepping this rule. This was especially so for Shangguan Rui, a regular in the black market. He had an extremely bad reputation in the monarch city and committed all sorts of crimes, yet he had extremely powerful forces behind him, so no one dared to offend him at all. Although those slave masters found it a pity when their goods were destroyed like this, they did not dare to utter a word in front of Shangguan Rui. But, anyone wants to snatch with me? A cold glint flickered in Shangguan Rui's eyes as he glanced at the wealthy businessmen in the surroundings. However, everyone whose Shangguan Rui's eyes swept across lowered their heads successively, not daring to speak. In this monarch city, they and even sect disciples usually did not dare to casually offend people of Shangguan Rui's level. Ah, young Sir Shangguan, you call the shots in this city. Who would dare to snatch with you? That's right. Unless someone doesn't want his life anymore and dares to snatch these slaves with young Sir Shangguan. Many onlookers chimed in and laughed immediately. People in the black market were more or less clear of Shangguan Rui's style and no longer found it strange. Moreover, it was only a few slaves, and the onlookers had never seen them as humans in the first place. Shangguan Rui was in a good mood after hearing what everyone said and nodded in satisfaction. He scoffed coldly. It can't be said that way. This black market has its rules. I'm someone who respects rules fully. If anyone wishes to bid, I am happy to compete fairly. However, it's a little risky to compete with me. After hearing what Shangguan Rui meant, those wealthy businessmen who initially wanted to compete gritted their teeth and eventually did not dare to say anything. What a joke! Do you think you can dictate things here in the monarch city? At this moment, a young man in white scoffed and walked out from the crowd in great strides. Everyone was astounded and could not help but size up that young man. Rest assured, ladies. I am definitely taking care of this matter today. The young man shot a look at Shangguan Rui and then told the girls in the cage. Please, young sir, save us from here. I'm willing to be a slave for you. A girl hurriedly spoke. However, before the young man said anything, the slave master took large steps forward and said, Brother, you aren't a citizen here, are you? So what if I'm not? The young man said. Ah. The slave master shook his head and laughed. Brother, it's better if you don't stand up for them. This young Sir Shangguan Rui's father is the Dragon Tiger General of Nine Knights Dynasty. What? After hearing that, the young man was appalled, and he looked at the hideous Shangguan Rui in surprise. The Dragon Tiger General had the most influence in the Nine Knights Dynasty. He had many armies under him and was a trusted subordinate of the current premier, Qin Long. But, you want to snatch with me? Shangguan Rui looked at the young man with interest. After knowing of Shangguan Rui's identity, the young man broke out in a cold sweat, and he hurriedly said, Young Sir Shangguan. This is a misunderstanding. If it was anyone else, the young man would not have bothered and still dared to contend. However, he was facing the son of the Dragon Tiger General, and there was no way would he dare to offend him. Shangguan Rui looked at the young man with a teasing expression. You don't wish to compete with me anymore? Young Sir Shangguan, this is a misunderstanding. I've never thought of snatching with you. The young man immediately made clear his stance, deeply afraid that Shangguan Rui would continue to misunderstand him. Misunderstanding? Shangguan Rui scoffed coldly. How boring is that? As he spoke, he looked at the guard beside him and said emotionlessly, Where's the knife? The guard immediately took out a gleaming dagger without saying anything and handed it to Shangguan Rui. Shangguan Rui received the dagger and walked towards that young man with a harmless smile. The young man was a little nervous at the sight. Swoosh! In the next second, the dagger in Shangguan Rui's hand was stuck into the man's stomach instantly. In just a moment, blood surged out and dyed the young man's white clothes crimson. The young man screamed in agony. His face turned white, and large beads of sweat dripped down from his forehead. It was as though the unbearable pain wanted to consume him entirely. That fellow was really reckless and actually dared to provoke young Sir Shangguan. An outsider did not know the situation and casually stood up for the slaves in the black market. He was really courting death. The onlookers scoffed coldly. In their eyes, Shangguan Rui's stab perfectly avoided the vital organs, making it seem like he only wanted to torture this young man. "I'm really sorry. I injured you by accident. This is a misunderstanding. You want mine, right?" A sinister expression emerged on Shangguan Rui's hideous face. Misunderstanding. "Young Sir Shangguan, spare my life." The young man withstood the pain and pleaded for mercy desperately. However, in the next second, the dagger in Shangguan Rui's hand stirred crazily in the young man's stomach. "Argh!" The young man died there and then almost instantly. Shangguan Rui then kneeled down to remove the dagger from the man's stomach and measured the young man's neck. Before everyone returned to their senses, the dagger waved, and he immediately slit the young man's neck. Large gushes of blood spouted out from the young man's neck and spattered all over Shangguan Rui's face. A cold glint twinkled in Shangguan Rui's eyes as he grabbed the young man's head and started to cut the neck area with the dagger. Chapter 686, Yuan Returning Stone, 1. In just a moment, the young man's head was entirely chopped off by Shangguan Rui. "How ugly!" Shangguan Rui lifted the young man's head in the air and inspected it clearly as though he was admiring a piece of art. However, Shangguan Rui did not seem to be very satisfied with this artwork and tossed it on the ground disinterestedly. Then, he lifted his right leg and stepped on the young man's head. The young man's head was crushed by Shangguan Rui, and red and white liquid spattered everywhere. The onlookers exchanged a few looks when they saw it. Shangguan Rui was really ruthless. After witnessing Shangguan Rui's brutality, the girls in the cage shrieked. "Clean it." After cleaning the dirt off his shoes, Shangguan Rui looked at the slave master. Yes. "I'll clean it immediately." The slave master nodded repeatedly and ordered someone to clear the unbearable sight that was the young man's corpse. For outsiders like them, provoking the other party without knowing their identity was mostly courting death. Before long, the young man's corpse was cleared, and the remains on the ground were cleaned. Yi Qingtang had already walked to the wooden stage with the little white tiger. Her eyes darkened slightly as she watched the bloody scene. At that instant, the girls in the cages were filled with despair and trembled in fear. "This one is not bad. I want it." Shangguan Rui regained interest and grinned at a girl with long, blue hair. "Heh, young Sir Shangguan, you really have a good eye. This girl is a supreme-grade slave. We caught her at the external frontiers of the sea outside Nine Nights Dynasty." Very quickly, the blue-haired girl was brought out from the cage by the slave master. Someone save me." Expressions of despair filled the blue-haired girl's face as she looked at the crowd helplessly. However, the place was silent, and people only looked at each other indifferently. No one would offend people like Shangguan Rui over a slave, and the young man from before was a lesson learned. There were many beauties in the world, and there was no need to risk their lives to fight for one. "I have a Yuan Returning Stone. Whoever can save me, I will gift him the Yuan Returning Stone. I'm begging you all, please." The girl knelt on the ground with tears streaming down her face. Yuan Returning Stone? The onlookers looked at each other. The Yuan Returning Stone was a rare stone that could refine weapons, but it was not a main material and could not increase a cultivator's skills. It was a type of energy stone that did not have many uses to a cultivator despite being extremely rare. Yuan Returning Stone. The little white tiger suddenly peeked its head out of Yi Qingtang's arms and scanned the surroundings. Soul Returning Stone. Where's it? Many people near Yi Qingtang looked at the little white tiger immediately. An orange-colored tiger cub appeared before everyone's eyes. Yi Qingtang shot a look at the little white tiger. She clearly told it not to come out for nothing. Spirit animal? Several cultivators were amazed as they looked at the little orange tiger in Yi Qingtang's arm. The supposed spirit animal was completely different from a demonic beast. Demonic beasts kill by nature and had a murderous air, while spirit animals were humane, and some could even speak the human language, though such cases were extremely rare. However, while spirit animals were rare, it was not to the extent that its appearance could shock one. In the Nine Knights dynasty, the number of forces which possessed spirit animals was not a small number either. It was said that the Falling Sky Valley in the Nine Knights dynasty had a big black dog that could speak, and it was also one of the few spirit animals that existed. Another example was the Ouyang family clan, the number 1 family clan in the Nine Knights dynasty, which possessed a golden crow that could speak. "Brother, is this little yellow dragon a spirit animal? Where did you get it from? Are you interested to make a deal?" A rather skilled cultivator asked Yi Qingtang. "I'm not selling," Yi Qingtang said. After hearing that cultivator saw that Yi Qingtang was foreign-looking and did not seem to be someone from a big force from the Nine Knights dynasty. "Little brother, I'm Zhou Fu, a member of the Zhou family clan in the Nine Knights dynasty. Are you sure you're unwilling to make this deal with me?" Yi Qingtang heard something about the Zhou family clan in her previous life as well. It was a second-tier force in the Nine Knights dynasty and was about the same as Xianling sect and Wen Moon sect in the Formidable Heavens dynasty. "Fuck you. What do you treat me as? Am I someone you can buy just because you want to?" The little white tiger glared at Zhou Fu and shouted angrily. A trace of fury appeared on Zhou Fu's face when he heard the spirit animal scolding him. "I'm talking to your owner. Was it ever your turn to speak?" Yi Qingtang looked at Zhou Fu coldly. "What my spirit animal said is what I want to say." "What did you say?" Zhou Fu's eyes flickered. Yi Qingtang looked away from Zhou Fu, ignoring his desires, and spoke to her little white tiger. "You're interested in the Yuan returning stone?" "Yes. The Yuan returning stone contains the heaven and earth energy. It is useless to human cultivators, but it's extremely useful to me." The little white tiger nodded repeatedly as its big, round eyes were filled with longing. "Since you have a request, I'll help you to obtain it." Yi Qingtang smiled faintly. Her eyes were icy as she swept a look at the arrogant Shangguan Rui discreetly. Then Yi Qingtang walked towards the slave master in great strides. At that instant, Shangguan Rui looked at the blue-haired girl with interest. "Truly a supreme grade. How nice smelling." Shangguan Rui lifted the girl's blue hair to near his nose and reveled in its smell. "Give me the knife. Faster." Shangguan Rui could not contain his excitement and said to that indifferent guard. Very quickly, the guard took a long knife out and handed it to Shangguan Rui. "I'm begging you, let me go." As though she felt death approaching her, fear was etched on the blue-haired girl's face when she saw Shangguan Rui walking towards her with a long knife in hand. The brutality and terror of Shangguan Rui skinning someone alive earlier on were still vivid in her mind. "Ha!" Shangguan Rui laughed. "Don't fail to appreciate my favor. Being able to be hung in my beauty pavilion is an honor of your many lifetimes." After saying that, the long knife in his hands moved, about to stab into the blue-haired girl's body. "I want this woman." At that moment, Yi Qingtang's indifferent voice echoed around the place. Everyone was stunned to hear that and looked around the crowd instinctively. A beautiful young man in white slowly walked out with a feather fan in his hand. Another person courting death. Tiskfi, there are really quite a few people courting death today. When they saw that a beautiful young man wanted to snatch the blue-haired girl with Shangguan Rui, everyone laughed coldly as they waited for a good show. Zhou Fu scoffed. It seemed that he did not need to take any action anymore. Then, Shangguan Rui placed the long knife down and inspected Yi Qingtang with interest. Chapter 688, Yuan Returning Stone, 3. "Brother, you aren't a citizen here, are you?" The slave master could not help but have a headache when he saw another person here to court death. "That's right." Yi Qingtang nodded her head. "Ha, brother. Do you know that this is young Sir Shangguan Rui, the son of Nine Knights Dynasty's Dragon Tiger General?" The slave master said. Dragon Tiger General? Shock filled Yi Qingtang's face after hearing the slave master. Before everyone could mock Yi Qingtang after seeing her expression, she said disdainfully, "So what? This blue-haired girl is destined to belong to me." Yi Qingtang walked up and stood in front of the blue-haired girl. Ignoring everyone's gaze, she smiled and asked, "Do you really have the Yuan returning stone?" I have the Yuan returning stone. The blue-haired girl nodded repeatedly. Since that's the case, you are mine. Yi Qingtang's lips curled up into a smile. The slave master waved a hand rather impatiently. This slave is already confirmed by young Sir Shangguan. Confirmed by him? Yi Qingtang scoffed. This black market has its rules. That fellow has not paid, so it does not count. Young Sir Shangguan? The slave master looked at Shangguan. The black market, of course, has its rules. A sinister smile played on Shangguan Rui's lips. Let's see what his financial capability is then. After saying that, Yi Qingtang took out a yellow-grade longsword from her space ring and threw it on the ground directly. Is this enough? A yellow-grade weapon? Everyone at the scene exchanged a look. A yellow-grade weapon was extremely precious. To ordinary sects, some elite disciples could not even obtain it after working hard for years. Seeing that the slave master remained silent, Yi Qingtang took out a bundle of weapons from her space ring and tossed it on the ground nonchalantly. Is this enough? There were 10 weapons in that one bundle. Too many sect disciples died in the hell of a Visnaraka mystic realm, and Yi Qingtang picked up dozens of weapons on her way. Currently, yellow-grade weapons were not very useful to her anymore. 11 yellow-grade weapons. The slave master looked at Yi Qingtang in surprise. What was this fellow's background for him to be able to throw 11 yellow-grade weapons out so casually? The onlookers were similarly astounded. Young Sir Shangguan, look. The slave master was extremely tempted after seeing Yi Qingtang's 11 yellow-grade weapons. Not mentioning one slave, even 100 slaves were not worth these 11 yellow-grade weapons. I'll give you one more. This slave is mine. Then, the corner of Yi Qingtang's lips curled up slightly as she retrieved a supreme yellow-grade weapon from her space ring. Supreme grade. The slave master's heart palpitated wildly. A supreme yellow-grade weapon. A weapon that could weigh against dozens of ordinary yellow-grade weapon. Yi Qingtang also had quite a few weapons of similar grade in her space ring which were all obtained from the hell of a Visnaraka mystic realm. There was no reluctance in throwing a few swords out. Young Sir Shangguan? How about? The slave master looked at Shangguan Rui and laughed. Ha, let her to him then, Shangguan Rui said. The slave master thanked him repeatedly and hurriedly kept all the weapons that Yi Qingtang threw on the ground. Brother, she is yours, the slave master said to Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang nodded and was about to leave with the blue-haired girl. However, right at that instant, Shangguan Rui suddenly blocked Yi Qingtang's way with a menacing smile on his face. Chapter 689. So what if I slap you? 1. Is there anything you need? Yi Qingtang glanced at Shangguan Rui indifferently. Ha! Shangguan Rui laughed coldly as he sized up Yi Qingtang with an evil intention. We have gone through the black market's rules. Shouldn't we talk about my rules next? Your rules? Yi Qingtang arched a brow slightly. Tell me about it. A trace of insanity flashed across Shangguan Rui's eyes, and he turned to look at his guard. Where's the knife? The guard walked up quickly and, once again, handed Shangguan Rui the dagger which was used to chop the young man's head. My rules. Do you wish to know? Shangguan Rui received the dagger and narrowed his eyes at Yi Qingtang. His scarlet and foul tongue licked his dry lips. In the next second, a ferocious expression appeared on his face as he stabbed towards Yi Qingtang's stomach with the dagger. In everyone's eyes, this sight was, however, extremely normal. Everyone had already expected this outcome. An outsider who offended Shangguan Rui was destined to have such an outcome. Pow! A clear sound suddenly rang. That beautiful young man who held a folding fan actually held Shangguan Rui's left hand that held the dagger was in, with the sharp tip of the dagger stopping just half a finger away from the beautiful young man's stomach. The onlookers in the surrounding gasped at Yi Qingtang's actions. This fellow actually dared to retaliate? An outsider actually countered young Sir Shangguan. Is he not afraid that his entire family would have to suffer the wrath of young Sir Shangguan? What an ignorant fool. He would have been the only one who would die, but now that he countered, he has brought death to his entire clan. The young man from earlier was much more powerful than Shangguan Rui, but he still did not dare to fight back until death. in fear that he would implicate his family. Shangguan Rui's father was the Dragon Tiger General and the Premier Qin Long's trusted subordinate. Anyone who offended Shangguan Rui would face a terrifying outcome, and this was something that everyone in the Monarch City knew. Many years ago, someone could not see eye to eye with Shangguan Rui's brutality and fought back, but in the end, not only was that person put to death by dismembering the body, but his entire clan was also annihilated because of this. Shangguan Rui did not think that Yi Qingtang would dare to retaliate as well and was taken aback. When he returned to his senses, he looked up slowly and stared right at the emotionless Yi Qingtang. Shangguan Rui's lips curled up slightly, and a berserk smile suddenly appeared on his hideous face. Good. Really good. This is so interesting. Ha. I want your clan to be completely annihilated. Completely annihilated. That savage laugh reverberated throughout the black market, and many onlookers shook their heads secretly. This beautiful young man might have implicated his entire clan already. Oh! Yi Qingtang looked at the enraged Shangguan Rui indifferently without panicking. Without waiting for Shangguan Rui to speak, she suddenly raised her right palm. In the next second, Yi Qingtang's right palm waved and flashed by before everyone's eyes like a bolt of lightning. Pow! A clear sound echoed in the scene. Silence, a deadly silence. Everyone was completely dumbstruck, and their jaws hung wide open after this clear sound rang. Yi Qingtang's right hand had actually slapped Shangguan Rui's ugly face. Was this beautiful young man crazy? He actually slapped Shangguan Rui? Still complete annihilation? A faint smile slowly appeared on Yi Qingtang's handsome face as she watched the dumbfounded Shangguan Rui. Shangguan Rui was slightly stunned, but the stinging pain on his cheeks reminded him of everything that happened a while ago. When he returned to his senses, he glared at Yi Qingtang furiously. Son of a bitch! How dare you hit me? I want you to die without a place to be buried. I want to chop off your head and dig out your eyes. Oh! Yi Qingtang looked at the enraged Shangguan Rui with interest. Without waiting for Shangguan Rui to continue cursing at her, Yi Qingtang suddenly raised her hand again. Pow! Before everyone's eyes, Yi Qingtang slapped Shangguan Rui's cheeks heavily once again. Within seconds, a few handprints emerged on Shangguan Rui's face. Never had Shangguan Rui dreamed that he would suffer 2 consecutive slaps. He glared at Yi Qingtang with bloodshot eyes before shouting sternly to the indifferent guard behind him. Kill him. Kill this son of a bitch. Noted. The indifferent guard nodded. In the next second, a martial chi level 3 first heaven aura emerged around the guard and completely enshrouded Yi Qingtang. Everyone was taken aback after sensing the indifferent guard's aura. Martial chi level 3, first heaven. This person's skills are actually so scary. He has already surpassed the elite disciples of Super Sex. This person is Shangguan Rui's martial teacher and is also his personal bodyguard. He is one of the Dragon Tiger General's trusted subordinates. That foreigner fellow will definitely die without a doubt. Everyone was extremely shocked after sensing the indifferent guard's martial chi level 3 first heaven aura. With a shout, a powerful martial aura immediately erupted out from that guard like a jet, and his palm rammed towards Yi Qingtang. However, when his palm was less than 3 inches away from Yi Qingtang, the little white tiger in Yi Qingtang's arms suddenly spouted out a trail of white flame. What? Sensing the force of destruction in this flame, the indifferent guard was alarmed. It was already too late for him to dodge. Argh! The indifferent guard let out a miserable cry as he burned into ashes after being hit by the white flame. Fuck you. You must be seeking death. How dare you think of attacking me? The little white tiger said furiously. Yi Qingtang looked blankly at the little white tiger. He wanted to attack me just now. Yi Qingtang reminded the little white tiger. He didn't say it earlier. Whatever though. I said that I would be responsible for you. I will protect you. The little white tiger grinned at Yi Qingtang. After absorbing large amounts of evil aura in the hell of Avisnaraka mystic realm, the little white tiger's infant body currently had the combat power of a human at the second heaven of martial chi level 3, and it could easily kill a mere martial chi level 3 first heaven cultivator. Such a powerful spirit animal. It killed a martial chi level 3 first heaven in an instant. I was thinking why that fellow was so fearless. So it's because he has such a powerful spirit animal as his backing. The ignorant are fearless. He dares to act like this just by relying on one spirit animal. The Dragon Tiger General should have already received news of this. Well, just watch how he dies later. In the crowd, Zhou Fu's eyes twinkled as he stared at the little white tiger in Yi Qingtang's arms. If he could obtain that spirit animal. Chapter 691. So what if I slap you? 3. Then, Zhou Fu immediately sent his people back to the Zhou family clan to bring the high-ranking powerful figures and a beast tamer master who was staying in the Zhou family clan temporarily. Son of a bitch, Shengguan Rui glared at Yi Qingtang in fury. You'll die without a doubt. Everyone in your clan will be completely annihilated because of your ignorance. Kneel down. Yi Qingtang ordered coldly as she looked at Shengguan Rui. What did you say? Shengguan Rui could not believe what he heard. I want you to kneel down. Yi Qingtang repeated. Not mentioning Shengguan Rui, everyone in the surroundings gasped upon hearing what Yi Qingtang said. This beautiful young man actually wants Shengguan Rui to kneel to her? Does she even know who Shengguan Rui's father is? Is she tired of living? You're courting death. Shengguan Rui shouted angrily. Yi Qingtang frowned slightly and kicked a leg out. Cluck. The sound of crushed bones rang. Yi Qingtang's kick completely crushed the bones in Shengguan Rui's knees. The moment his bones crushed, Shengguan Rui kneeled beside Yi Qingtang's legs weakly. The pain caused him to break out in a cold sweat profusely, and his face whitened. Were you threatening me just now? The mischievous expression on her face deepened as she watched Shengguan Rui. Shengguan Rui wanted to kill her earlier on, and from then, Yi Qingtang never planned to let him off alive. At this instant, Yi Qingtang looked straight ahead of her from the corner of her eyes. A middle-aged man riding on a horse was rushing towards them at top speed with thousands of military cultivators behind him. It's the Dragon Tiger General. Shouts erupted in the crowd. Everyone looked ahead immediately. Indeed, the person on the warhorse was Shengguan Rui's father, Dragon Tiger General Shengguan Zhe. Father! Father! Upon noticing his father, Shengguan Rui ignored the pain in his legs and crawled forward with his hands on the ground. Rui! The Dragon Tiger General was shocked to see Shengguan Rui crawling towards him and immediately leaped down his horse. Fury and resentment riled in him when he saw how miserable his precious son was with his broken legs. However, before the Dragon Tiger General could get any closer, Shengguan Rui was lifted back by Yi Qingtang by the neck. How dare you! The Dragon Tiger General glared at her furiously. Let my son go, and I'll leave your corpse in one piece. Kill! 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 As the Dragon Tiger General spoke, the thousands of military cultivators behind him shouted repeatedly. Leave my corpse in one piece? Yi Qingtang's lips curled into a sinister smile. General, are you not clear of the situation? Shengguan Rui was in her hands right now, and his life and death were all up to Yi Qingtang. Yet, this Dragon Tiger General still dared to say things like leaving her corpse in one piece at this timing. What a joke! Is this fellow crazy? How dare he say such a thing to the Dragon Tiger General? Is he relying on just that above-average spirit animal of his to fight against the Dragon Tiger General? There was a flurry of discussion in the crowd. Father, quickly, kill this little bastard. Must slaughter his entire clan and completely annihilate his clan. Shengguan Rui shouted loudly. Rui, don't be anxious. The Dragon Tiger General frowned deeply and looked at Yi Qingtang. What do you wish to do? Chapter 692. So what if I slap you? 4. I don't wish to do anything. Yi Qingtang scoffed coldly. Your son snatched my slave in public and wanted to kill me. How should we settle this score? As Shengguan Rui's father, the Dragon Tiger General was naturally aware of his son's style. But so what? Apart from those core disciples of Super Sex and the Premier who could not be offended, Who else could not be killed or beaten casually? Fellow, release my son first, the Dragon Tiger General said coldly. Release him? Yi Qingtang laughed. It's not impossible. However, you need to give me 100,000 spirit stones as compensation. To Yi Qingtang, it had nothing to do with her how surly or brutal Shangguan Rui was. In the past 300 years in her life, she had met too many of such people and incidents. She already could not be bothered with such people, but the pretext was that the person must not offend her. Yi Qingtang auctioned according to the black market rules, yet Shangguan Rui actually wanted to kill her. Now that the Dragon Tiger General ordered Yi Qingtang to release Shangguan Rui, it was not impossible. As long as she was given appropriate compensation, she might make some considerations. What did you say? The Dragon Tiger General Shangguan Zhe glared angrily. Even if it was 100,000 inferior-grade spirit stones, it was not an amount that he could fork out. But, find it too many? Yi Qingtang scoffed coldly. Your bastard son ignored the rules of the black market. He could not win by wealth and wanted to kill me for no reason. It is reasonable for me to ask 100,000 spirit stones from you. Everyone at the scene exchanged a look. This outsider was too bold. It was already a death crime for him to beat Shangguan Rui up like that, and now he still dared to threaten the Dragon Tiger General. Even if his spirit animal was extremely powerful, it would not be able to defeat thousands of Dragon Tiger warriors. Fellow, do you know exactly what you're doing and saying? The Dragon Tiger General's eyes were cold. There was actually someone in this monarch city who dared to hit his son and threaten him. Father, you must kill this son of a bitch and dismember him. Find out his family clan and kill all of them. Shangguan Rui's eyes were filled with insanity. Pow! Yi Qingtang swung a palm out and slapped Shangguan Rui heavily. Blood seeped out from the corners of his lips as he glared at Yi Qingtang menacingly. This son of a bitch! You will have an extremely tragic death. All your loved ones, friends, everyone will die because of your ignorance. A cold gleam flickered in Yi Qingtang's eyes. Initially, if that Dragon Tiger General was willing to compensate, Yi Qingtang could still consider sparing this person's life. But currently, it seemed that there was no such need anymore. Release my son Shangguan Rui immediately. Otherwise, you're not the only one who will suffer. When the Dragon Tiger General saw Yi Qingtang hitting his son, he clenched his fists tightly, wishing he could tear Yi Qingtang into pieces. Yi Qingtang's lips curled up slightly into a sinister smile. Since that's the case, there's nothing to discuss between us already. After that, Yi Qingtang clutched Shangguan Rui's neck. In the next second, all everyone saw was that Shangguan Rui was held in the air by Yi Qingtang. Shangguan Rui could not breathe properly in Yi Qingtang's grip. His limbs swung wildly, and his eyes slowly became bloodshot. However, no matter what, he was unable to escape from Yi Qingtang's grip. Son of a bitch! The Dragon Tiger General's expression changed immediately. Little bastard, if you dare to touch my son, I will definitely slaughter your entire clan. Really? The corner of Yi Qingtang's lips curled up, and she slowly placed Shangguan Rui on the ground. Only then did the Dragon Tiger General's expression turn a little better. Son of a bitch! You're afraid now. Once Shangguan Rui landed on the ground, he pointed at Yi Qingtang and sneered. This outsider bastard. However, before Shangguan Rui finished his sentence, Yi Qingtang had already unsheathed the demonic blood sword. Swoosh! The demonic blood sword waved, and a blood-colored sword shadow flashed by. The crowd was astounded and in disbelief as they watched the smile on Shangguan Rui's face freeze completely. A large skull was separated from the body and flew into the sky. At his very last moment of consciousness, Shangguan Rui's head was in the air as he was horrified to see his headless body that was spouting blood at the neck area. Swoosh! Yi Qingtang waved the demonic blood sword once again. With a boom, Shangguan Rui's skull was slashed into pieces by the sword shadow. Everyone at the scene was dead silent. No one could think that an outsider actually had the guts to chop off Shangguan Rui's head. And it was even done right in front of Shangguan Rui's father, the Dragon Tiger General. My son. At that instant, The Dragon Tiger General felt his heart rip apart. Grief etched on his face. Dirted my sword. Yi Qingtang sneered and flicked her wrist, flicking all the blood off the demonic blood sword. Shangguan Rui's headless body staggered for a few steps aimlessly and crashed on the ground. The blue-haired girl beside Yi Qingtang turned pale instantly. The slave master's face was ghastly white. Did this fellow really not want his life anymore? Did he know what he did? I want your clan to be annihilated completely. The Dragon Tiger General hollered in fury. In the next second, thousands of military cultivators cornered Yi Qingtang. Fuck you all. Bullying us when you all outnumber us? Upon noticing the situation, the little white tiger scoffed coldly and spat a white flame at the 1,000 cultivators cornering them. In the hell of a Visnaraka mystic realm, the energy stored in the little white tiger's body was not yet depleted. As the white flame was spouted out, dozens of cultivators closest to the little white tiger immediately turned into ashes after coming into contact with the white flame. What? The remaining military cultivators were alarmed as they looked at that white flame from the little white tiger, and they retreated backward instinctively. Be careful of that spirit animal. A general shouted with a deep frown. The white flame from that spirit animal's mouth was extremely frightening and contained a force of destruction which normal cultivators could not bear at all. As long as one was stained with a trace, he would turn into ashes. Spirit animal. The Dragon Tiger General stared at the little white tiger that had been dyed into orange and clenched his teeth. Fuck you all. See whether it'll burn you all to death or not. The little white tiger declared with its chin high up, acting as though he was just second in rank to the heavens. Before everyone returned to their senses, a white flame burst out from the little white tiger's mouth once again. In an instant, another 10 or so people were burnt into nothingness by the white flame. Everyone trembled at the sight and could only retreat even further away in fear of coming into contact with the white flame. This son of a bitch. The Dragon Tiger General looked at Yi Qingtang with darkened eyes. Did he really think that he could escape his death by relying on the protection of a spirit animal? Chapter 694, Half-Step Yin Yang Perfected Lord, 1. Right at that instant, dozens of family clan cultivators arrived at the black market. Zhou Fu's eyes shone, and he immediately welcomed the people. Family master, it is that spirit animal. Zhou Fu walked to an elderly's side and pointed at the little white tiger in Yi Qingtang's arms. The elderly nodded. He happened to see the little white tiger's imposing manner earlier on as well. Master Li. The clan master of the Zhou family clan looked at a teenager in purple clothes. The teenager in purple clothes was a beast tamer at a master level and had some relations with the Zhou family. It was a coincidence that he had been staying in the Zhou residence as a guest for these past few days. A beast tamer master was extremely rare even in super sex and could control both demonic beasts or spirit animals. General, this person committed a serious crime but is protected by a spirit animal. How about we combine forces and eliminate him? Clan Master Zhou walked to the Dragon Tiger General and suggested with a smile. The Dragon Tiger General said, sure. There is a beast tamer master in your Zhou family clan. You all can just control that bastard animal. The Dragon Tiger General's words were aligned with Clan Master Zhou's thoughts. They only wanted to obtain that spirit animal and did not wish to care about anything else. Master Li? Clan Master Zhou looked at the teenager in purple clothes and spoke slowly. The teenager in purple clothes nodded slightly. When his eyes landed on the little white tiger, he laughed coldly. That spirit animal is indeed extraordinary. The white flame that it spat out just now has a very powerful force of destruction. However, Master Li, however what? Clan Master Zhou asked anxiously. However, I can't tell what breed that spirit animal is. Master Li replied thoughtfully. Clan Master Zhou probed. Are you able to subdue that spirit animal? Master Li smiled faintly. There's no problem. For this type of spirit animal, it is not difficult to control a more grown form, much less an infant form. The crowd was suddenly in an uproar when they saw that the Zhou family clan brought the beast tamer master here. That foreigner fellow thought he could keep his life by relying on a spirit animal. What a joke. Ha! The Zhou family clan has a beast tamer master here right now. It seems that the Zhou family clan heard the news and took a fancy on that fellow's spirit animal. They even invited the beast tamer master to help them. No matter how powerful that spirit animal is, it will end up in the Zhou family clan's hands this time. He is, after all, an outsider and does not know the danger of Nine Knights Dynasty's monarch city. He is still too young and arrogant. He was not well behaved and dared to kill Shangguan Rui. After the spirit animal is taken away by the Zhou family clan, this fellow will definitely land in the Dragon Tiger General's hands. He will definitely be tortured and be forced to divulge information of his family clan, who will all be killed by the Dragon Tiger General in the end. Discussions erupted in the crowd. The little white tiger glared at that beast tamer master and scoffed coldly. How dare a bullshit beast tamer master wish to control me? Then, the little white tiger opened its mouth and wanted to use the white flame to burn that beast tamer master alive. However, that beast tamer master's eyes flickered, and he placed his palms together. An abstruse aura immediately enveloped the little white tiger in it. Spirit restriction spell? The little white tiger was slightly taken aback. What the fuck? The energy in my body is all absorbed from the hell of a Visnaraka mystic realm. This spirit restriction spell indeed has some effect on me. The demonic force in the little white tiger's body was immediately drawn away by the spirit restriction spell. Without the support of the energy, the little white tiger naturally could not spout the white flame anymore. What the fuck? This human clan's beast tamer master does have some skills. Quick, help me kill him. The little white tiger stared at itself in wide eyes. Bound by the spirit restriction spell, its body floated up and uncontrollably flew into the hands of the Zhou family clan in just a few breaths. Very good. Clan Master Zhou beamed as he grabbed the little white tiger. Fuck you. The little white tiger swore as it glared at the elderly. If the energy in its body was stronger in the outside world, a mere spirit restriction spell would simply be unable to draw its energy away. The demonic force in the hell of a Visnaraka mystic realm was in higher quantities and could not be compared to the pure positive energy in the outside world. Thus, the beast tamer master could succeed easily. Break this bastard's arms and legs. The Dragon Tiger General shouted furiously when he saw that Yi Qingtang was no longer protected by the spirit animal. In the next second, thousands of military cultivators charged towards Yi Qingtang. You have a death wish. Seeing that the dozens of people in the lead were charging at her with spears, Yi Qingtang's eyes flickered. In an instant, the aura of a half-step yin-yang perfected lord filled the air. With just the emergence of the aura of a half-step yin-yang perfected lord, the dozens of military cultivators who charged towards Yi Qingtang paled and immediately spouted large amounts of blood. The dozens of people were strewn into the air and flung hundreds of meters away by the half-step yin-yang perfected lord aura. Swoosh! Without giving anyone time to react, the demonic blood sword slashed across. The frightening blood-colored sword gleam swept the surroundings, seizing the lives of near 100 of cultivators with just one strike. Everyone in the black market was completely stupefied by the sight. Impossible? This must be a lie. Oh my god. It's actually the peak of martial chi level 3 third heaven. No. This aura. Yin-yang perfected lord. Half-step yin-yang perfected lord. Everyone gasped as they looked at the beautiful young man who was holding a folding fan. What kind of concept was a half-step yin-yang perfected lord? After sensing Yi Qingtang's half-step yin-yang perfected lord martial aura, the remaining military cultivators were aghast and in disbelief as they trembled in fear. In their troop, a cultivator with the skills of a martial chi level 3 first heaven was already considered a super powerful figure. Half-step yin-yang perfected lord. In their entire life, they had never seen a half-step yin-yang perfected lord before. Yi Qingtang's eyes flickered as she walked forward slowly. All that everyone saw was that the beautiful young man single-handedly forced thousands of military cultivators to retreat continuously. Swoosh! Yi Qingtang turned into a shadow immediately and disappeared from where she was. When Yi Qingtang appeared once again, she was beside Clan Master Zhou. "You are really bold." Yi Qingtang scoffed coldly behind Clan Master Zhou. After sensing Yi Qingtang's half-step yin-yang perfected Lord Martial aura, Clan Master Zhou was drenched in cold sweat. The most powerful person in their Zhou family clan had only entered the martial Qi level 3 second heaven not long ago, and a half-step yin-yang perfected lord was simply unimaginable. "Have mercy, senior. I failed to recognize a formidable person that is you. Spare my life, senior." Clan Master Zhou fell on his knees before the half-step yin-yang perfected lord. If he knew that this young man was a half-step yin-yang perfected lord, he would not dare to offend him no matter how bold he was. Swoosh! Without giving Clan Master Zhou a chance to explain himself, Yi Qingtang shot her palm out and killed him with the impact. Retreating backward, the numerous high-ranking executives were filled with fear and horror as they looked at Yi Qingtang. "Fuck you all. Retribution is here, isn't it?" The little white tiger strutted back into Yi Qingtang's arms. "And you..." In the next second, Yi Qingtang headed for that beast tamer master. She had never offended the Zhou family clan and this beast tamer master, yet they wanted to steal her fiend's celestial beast. Since that was the case, how could Yi Qingtang let them off? Noticing the situation, the beast tamer master frowned deeply. He had no means of defense against a half-step yin-yang perfected lord. Helpless, the beast tamer master tore a talisman, and his entire body was forced underground, vanishing completely. "You run fast." When Yi Qingtang saw that the beast tamer master escaped, she did not plan to chase after him. Very quickly, Yi Qingtang's eyes landed on Zhou Fu. Without needing to think, it must be this Zhou Fu who notified the Zhou family clan for them to come over to snatch the little white tiger when he failed to buy it. "Senior, I was blind." Zhou Fu kneeled before Yi Qingtang with a thud. Swoosh! Yi Qingtang slashed her sword without a word, cutting Zhou Fu, who was desperately pleading for mercy, into pieces. Yi Qingtang was never a compassionate person, especially after her rebirth. If anyone harbored evil designs against her, Yi Qingtang would pay them back with double the cruelty. The remaining high-ranking executives of the Zhou family clan were filled with horror. A half-step yin-yang perfected lord was not someone they could fight against. Almost instantly, more than 10 of them scattered in all directions and fled out of the black market at their fastest speed ever. Yi Qingtang glanced at them and did not stop them. Swoosh! Yi Qingtang appeared in front of the stunned Dragon Tiger General in a flash. "You said that you want to annihilate my clan earlier on?" Yi Qingtang laughed coldly as she looked at the Dragon Tiger General, who was just inches away from her. The thousands of military cultivators saw the beautiful young man in front of their general, but no one dared to walk up. The onlookers in the surrounding looked at Yi Qingtang in shock. Who would have thought that a dignified half-step yin-yang perfected lord would also take a stroll in this kind of black market? Furthermore, this half-step yin-yang perfected lord was a little too young, and no one would have drawn a connection between him and a half-step yin-yang perfected lord. No wonder he did not even care about Shangguan Rui. That Shangguan Rui's luck is extremely bad. He actually met a half-step yin-yang perfected lord and even wanted to attack him. Wasn't he seeking death? This senior followed the black market's rules and determined the winner using wealth. But Shangguan Rui landed himself in this plight this time. Everyone discussed actively as they watched Yi Qingtang. At this instant, the Dragon Tiger General gritted his teeth in silence, unsure of what to see. How would he have thought that this young man would actually be a half-step yin-yang perfected lord? "You wanted to annihilate my clan?" Yi Qingtang asked the Dragon Tiger General coldly again. "This is a misunderstanding." Helpless, the Dragon Tiger General could only reply that way. "Kneel down." Yi Qingtang ordered coldly. "What did you say?" The Dragon Tiger General clenched his fists tightly. This person killed his son right before him and still wanted him to kneel down now. "I want you to kneel down." There was a hint of fury in Yi Qingtang's tone. Chapter 697. Half-Step Yin Yang Perfected Lord, 4. You. The Dragon Tiger General glared at Yi Qingtang with wide eyes, wishing he could skin her alive. But, unwilling? Yi Qingtang narrowed her eyes as a cold glint flashed across her eyes suddenly. The Dragon Tiger General did not even have time to react or find out what happened, but he felt an extremely overbearing impact on his face. In the next second, Yi Qingtang's fist crashed on the Dragon Tiger General's face forcefully. With just a punch, the Dragon Tiger General was instantly flung out. His huge body flew for several meters before finally falling on the ground heavily. When he raised his head up, his nose was already completely broken, and blood gushed out of his wounds. The excruciating pain caused the Dragon Tiger General, who had been in hundreds of battles, to break out in cold sweat. However, before he could crawl up, a ghost-like figure appeared near him once again. Yi Qingtang suddenly struck her foot out, kicking the Dragon Tiger General into the air. He was knocked onto the roof of the black market and crashed down on the ground loudly. He felt as though a giant boulder rolled over his entire body. The people in the surrounding area were shaken by the sight. The Dragon Tiger General relied on his position and authority and the fact that he was a trusted subordinate of the Premier Qin Long, to act rashly and domineeringly, and even allowed his son to commit murders and many other crimes in the monarch city. Many were infuriated but did not dare to speak up. However, the tyrannical Dragon Tiger General was beaten up like a dog in public. This really vented the anger of those who had once been bullied. No matter how high the Dragon Tiger General's position was, his skills were nowhere close to this half-step yin-yang perfected Lord young man. He finally had it for him today. The Dragon Tiger General was in so much pain that he saw stars. He held himself up with difficulty. He wanted to stand up but suddenly saw the figure that was walking towards him. If you don't kneel, he'll beat you up until you kneel. Yi Qingtang looked down coldly at the Dragon Tiger General who had yet to crawl up as her lips curled into a nightmarish angle. The Dragon Tiger General felt that his head was going to explode when he saw Yi Qingtang's sinister smile. He had a feeling that this young man definitely meant what he said. At the thought of his opponent's horrifying aura, the Dragon Tiger General's heart trembled. Just as Yi Qingtang was about to walk to his side, the Dragon Tiger General directly kneeled before Yi Qingtang. Kneel. The Dragon Tiger General was drenched in cold sweat. No matter how thick his flesh was, how could it withstand the beating of a half-step yin-yang perfected lord? If he was beaten up another 2 times, his life would probably end here. At this instant, the Dragon Tiger General could no longer care about his face. Protecting his life was more important. There were no emotions in Yi Qingtang's eyes as she looked at the Dragon Tiger General, who knelt before her in public. She suddenly said, "Look up." The Dragon Tiger General was shaken, but he could only follow Yi Qingtang's words and look at Yi Qingtang's face. "I came here for a stroll today, but my mood was spoiled by you all. What should I do about this matter?" Yi Qingtang said in a cold tone. Chapter 698. Half-Step Yin-Yang Perfected Lord, 5. The Dragon Tiger General was naturally not a fool to be able to attain this position under Qin Long. He hurriedly said, "We did not know our manners and spoiled your mood. It is right for us to compensate for our fault." "Oh, how do you intend on compensating?" Yi Qingtang said without emotion. In reality, it was very easy to kill the Dragon Tiger General with her skills. However, she had just come to Nine Knights Dynasty and did not plan on stirring up so much trouble. Killing Shangguan Rui was at most a personal grudge, but the Dragon Tiger General was a minister in the Nine Knights Dynasty. If she killed him with everyone watching, she would be in quite a lot of trouble. Luckily, using his life to exchange for some items was pretty good too. "It's all up to you," the Dragon Tiger General said. Yi Qingtang flashed a faint smile and said, "I heard that the exquisite jade in your family clan is not bad." The Dragon Tiger General trembled. The exquisite jade was an item handed down by the ancestors of his family clan and was extremely effective in nourishing the spirit root. Yi Qingtang knew about this exquisite jade from Ouyang Qian in her previous life. But, unwilling? Yi Qingtang raised a brow slightly and placed the demonic blood sword against the Dragon Tiger General's neck immediately. With the cold blade placed against his skin, the Dragon Tiger General paled in shock and did not dare to bargain. No matter how precious a family heirloom was, his own life was more important. Willing. The Dragon Tiger General hurriedly removed the exquisite jade that he brought. Yi Qingtang's lips curled into a smile as she looked at the exquisite jade in her hands. Get lost, Yi Qingtang said coldly and kicked the Dragon Tiger General away. The Dragon Tiger General stood up and fled in a flurry, not daring to remain there a second longer. The onlookers clucked their tongues in wonder. If they did not witness it personally, who would have thought that the Dragon Tiger General, who threw his weight around in the Monarch City, would actually end up in this plight today? Not only was his son killed right before his eyes, he still had to personally hand his family heirloom to the murderer. Everyone was filled with reverence towards that beautiful young Min, who stood there with an outstanding manner. The blue-haired girl was stupefied as she looked at the young man. Never would she have thought that the person who saved her would actually be such a powerful person. Why you still spacing out over there? Follow me. Yi Qingtang turned to look at the blue-haired girl who was in a daze. The girl returned to her senses and followed behind Yi Qingtang immediately. She had a feeling that the calamity was over, and she felt she had a new lease of life. Where's your Yuan returning stone? The little white tiger spoke to the blue-haired girl. The blue-haired girl hurriedly took out a Yuan returning stone that was about the size of half a palm. After receiving it, Yi Qingtang took a look at the little white tiger, whose face was brimming with satisfaction, and found it a little funny. I still have something on. Wear this first. Yi Qingtang took out a shirt from her space ring and tossed it to the shabbily dressed young girl. Thank you, benefactor. The blue-haired girl hurriedly wore it. Yi Qingtang did not say anything further. After this drama, she had taken up quite some time and had no mind to care about anything else as she walked straight to her destination. The blue-haired girl did not dare to utter a word and obediently followed behind Yi Qingtang. Chapter 699, Bliss Forging Workshop, 1. Yi Qingtang arrived at a less crowded place in the black market after walking through the bustling streets. This area was full of forging workshops that sold weapons. Among the forging workshops, there was a simple-looking stall that stood out. There was an old plaque hanging on top of the forging workshop. The word Bliss was engraved on it. Though it was the least eye-catching workshop on the street, there was a crowd of people outside the door. These people were dressed in expensive clothes and did not seem to be normal citizens. Dusheng, please. Just sell me one sword. In the small stall, a man who was well-dressed was chatting with a young man around 16 or 17. The young man was handsome but dressed in normal clothes. However, the man who was asking for a sword was still begging him constantly. Sorry, but Master said that he is not in a good mood today, and he does not want to sell any sword, the young man Dusheng said inside. Please. I have prepared all the things that the Master will like. Just help me to convince him and ask him to sell one sword to me. Any sword will do. Yes. Just give me any random sword at any price. Please, just sell one to us. A half-completed product will do as well. A group of well-dressed men were begging Dusheng. The stall was completely different from other forging workshops. Dusheng could only shake his head under so many requests. Please go back, everyone. We will not sell any sword today. The workers from other forging workshops all wished to pull those clients to their stalls when the Bliss Forging Workshop chased away their businesses. Yi Qingtang was used to the scene. Though the Bliss Forging Workshop was small, it had the most business. It was harder than anything to purchase a sword from the Bliss Forging Workshop. It all depended on the shop owner's mood to sell a sword no matter what the buyer's identity was or how much he was willing to pay. Yi Qingtang had come to the place many times with her senior brother in her previous life under the name of their master. However, no matter how much effort they spent, the shop owners still did not agree to forge a weapon for her master. Eventually, her master had to come to this place personally and convince the owner after a few days with a great price paid. The owner of the Bliss Forging Workshop was different from others. As the rumors said, he was a famous blacksmith on the past. All weapons that he forged were divine weapons. However, the person had a weird temper and chose to hide in the black market of the Nine Knights dynasty. He rarely met with people. In her previous life, the method of forging weapons with spirit crystals was created by him after a few years. The group of people did not manage to purchase any swords even though they spent much effort in trying to convince the workers. They could only stare at the few weapons left hanging in the stall. Yi Qingtang walked into the small forging workshop. Her gaze did not change when she saw the poor decorations of the stall. Her sight passed the weapons and landed on Du Sheng, who was cleaning a sword. "Hi, I would like to see Master Du," Yi Qingtang said straight away. Du Sheng lifted his head and was slightly stunned when he saw the pretty young man in front of him. The other customers in the stall all turned around to see the origin of the voice. Chapter 700, Bliss Forging Workshop 2. Who is this? Is he insane? He wants to meet Master Du? He doesn't seem to belong to the monarch city. He does not know the rules. He wants to meet Master Du? What a joke! The group of people stared at Yi Qingtang in sarcasm and found his request amusing. Master Du was the owner of the Bliss Forging Workshop and the only blacksmith here. He was so renowned that even the royal members of the Nine Knights dynasty needed to pay respect to him. It was extremely difficult for normal people to even purchase a half-completed weapons forged by Master Du, not mentioning about meeting him. Du Sheng was stunned as he did not expect that the pretty young man would have such a request. "Sorry, Master does not meet any guest." "Hey, do you know the rules? Master Du is not someone you can just meet if you want. Who do you think you are?" The customers at the side mocked. Yi Qingtang did not bother with the sarcasm and took out the dagger that she forged by her waist and handed it to Du Sheng. "Please give this dagger to Master Du. I'll wait to see whether he is willing to meet me after seeing this dagger." The customers all stretched out their heads to take a look at the dagger. She took it out. However, they only saw a black dagger with nothing special. What's wrong with him? Master Du would be willing to meet him based on a poor dagger? Is he brain damaged? However, Du Sheng's eyes sparkled when he saw the dagger in Yi Qingtang's hand. He was an orphan that Master Du adopted. He learned the forging skills from Master Du all along, and his observation skills were different from those of others. Du Sheng could see that the dagger in Yi Qingtang's hand was definitely not mediocre with just one look. However, he could not tell what was used to forge the dagger. "Wait a while." Du Sheng suddenly changed his words. He took over the dagger and walked towards the inner room of the forging workshop. The group of people who were prepared to witness the joke were shocked after Du Sheng took the dagger and rushed away. What is going on? Within a short while, Du Sheng came back with a white-haired elder who seemed to be above 50 years old. The people in the forging workshop were all astonished when they saw the elder behind Du Sheng. Master Du? Master Du came out? What is going on? The group of people were confused and looked at Yi Qingtang in surprise. What is special about that dagger? How could the dagger invite Master Du out? Yi Qingtang was calm. She had forged the dagger personally with a spirit crystal. Any skilled blacksmith would be able to see that the dagger was special. The method of forging weapons with spirit crystals was created by Master Du in her previous life. In this life, Master Du had yet acquired the method. Yi Qingtang was sure that she would be able to invite Master Du out with the dagger. "Master, this is the owner of the dagger," Du Sheng said softly in respect. Master Du's sight then landed on Yi Qingtang. His experienced and sharp sight sized up the young man with extraordinary disposition. Chapter 701, Bliss Forging Workshop 3. At the moment, a well-dressed young man suddenly stepped forward and walked in front towards Master Du. "Master Du, I'm Chu Yi from the Tiangang sect. Today, I'm here to meet you in the name of my master." The young man explained slowly. Master Du's sight then landed on Chu. The rest in the forging workshop looked at Chu Yi in awe when they heard that he was a Tiangang sect disciple. Tiangang sect was a super sect of the Nine Knights dynasty. Its ability could be compared to that of the Falling Sky Valley. People who were able to enter the Tiangang sect were extremely talented. "My master has sent a letter previously." May I know whether Master Du has received that? Chu Yi smiled and asked. Master Du nodded his head slightly. Seeing the Tiangang sect disciple Chu Yi, others interpreted Master Du's response differently. Previously, they thought that Master Du was invited out by the dagger of the unknown young man. Now, it seemed that they were thinking too much. When Du Sheng was introducing Yi Qingtang to Master Du, his voice was soft. Thus, no one else heard that besides the two of them. Now, as they saw Tiangang sect disciple Chu Yi go forward, they all credited Chu Yi for inviting Master Du out. Chu Yi also thought that way. It's my pleasure to be able to meet Master Du today. My master wants you to help him to forge a sword. My master said that as long as you are willing to do so, he will offer a few 100 kilograms of black gold meteoric iron, Chu Yi said respectfully. The moment Chu Yi finished his words, gasps sounded throughout the forging workshop. How precious was black gold meteoric iron? It was almost impossible to find any weapon forged using black gold meteoric iron in normal forging workshops. A few kilograms of black gold meteoric iron could not be calculated by money. Only a super sect like the Tiangang sect would be able to offer a few kilograms of black gold meteoric iron at one shot. Everyone's eyes were filled with joy. How lucky they would be if they could get a weapon forged using black gold meteoric iron. No wonder Master Du came out personally. The price that the Tiangang sect offered was too tempting. Black gold meteoric iron? Master Du's face was expressionless. Yes. Chu Yi nodded. I'm not short of black gold meteoric iron, and am not interested in forging any weapon for your master. If you do not have other things, please leave. Master Du waved his hand impatiently. His words shocked Chu Yi and everyone else. Master Du, what do you mean? Did you not agree to forge a weapon for my master? Chu Yi panicked as he did not imagine that he would receive such an answer. When did I agree to that? Master Du frowned. You received my master's letter, and the letter also explains my master's intention. Did you not agree to my master's request since you came out personally today? Chu Yi said. Chu Yi was stunned. The letter clearly explained his master's request and said that he would be here at this time. He thought that Master Du must have agreed since he came out personally. However, he did not expect Master Du to reject his request. Master Du frowned and took a glimpse at Chu Yi. How does coming out here have anything to do with your master? Who said that I walked out because of your master? Chapter 702, Black Gold Meteoric Iron, 1. Chu Yi opened his mouth wide and did not manage to say anything after a long while. The reason why Master Du came out now was not due to his master's letter. Besides Chu Yi, others in the forging workshop were all confused by Master Du's changing temper. Master Du was apparently out of patience to talk to Chu Yi anymore. He walked past him and reached in front of Yi Qingtang. Young man, where did you get this dagger? Master Du suddenly took out the dagger that Yi Qingtang handed over to Du Sheng previously. He stared at Yi Qingtang with sharp eyes. Everyone else in the forging workshop was stunned after hearing Master Du's words. They all stared at Master Du in disbelief, and their sights landed on the pretty young man again. It seemed like they were staring at a ghost. What is going on? Master Du really came out because of this guy? And not the Tiangang sect elder's letter. I forged the dagger by myself, Yi Qingtang said and looked at Master Du. Master Du lifted his eyebrows, and his eyes were full of suspicion. Master Du had scrutinized the dagger. Both the forging technique and the details on the dagger were considered perfect. Even someone like him who was so strict also could not find any flaw. However, the young man in front of him was at most 15 or 16. How could he be the blacksmith that forged such a perfect dagger? Young man, you said that this dagger was forged by you? Do you know what the material of the dagger is? Master Du asked. Black gold meteoric iron, Yi Qingtang said. Black gold meteoric iron? Chu Yi, who was ignored by Master Du, looked at the dagger after hearing Yi Qingtang's words. He had seen many weapons forged by black gold meteoric iron in Tiangang sect. However, those weapons were different from the dagger here. Chu Yi took a glimpse at Master Du, who frowned slightly. A thought emerged in his mind. He said directly to Yi Qingtang, Young brother, Master Du is the representative in the forging industry. I think it's not very appropriate for you to say such nonsense here. Oh, why do you say my words are nonsense? Yi Qingtang looked at Chu Yi. Chu Yi chuckled but did not say anything. He took out a black sword from his space ring. The sword was pure black in color, but the sword body was suffused with cold gleams. I have a sword forged using the black gold meteoric iron. Young brother, though your dagger is black in color, it seems to be different from the one in my hand? Chu Yi smiled and said. He wanted to expose the young man's lie to earn a good impression in front of Master Du. Everyone's sight landed on the sword on Chu Yi's hands. It was obvious that when the sword and Yi Qingtang's dagger were placed together, the materials seemed to be different. Though both were black, Yi Qingtang's dagger seemed to be mixed with impurities and did not have the gleam like the one on Chu Yi's sword. The black gold meteoric iron was rare, and normal people might not even have the chance to witness one. Chu Yi was a disciple of Tiangang's sect. It was normal for him to have a sword that was forged using black gold meteoric iron. Of course, no one would question the authenticity of his sword. However, as for Yi Qingtang, though she appeared to be a handsome man, she was dressed in ordinary clothes. She did not seem to be able to own any weapon forged using black gold meteoric iron. The young man here really hit the wall today. How dare he say such nonsense in front of Master Du? Black gold meteoric iron? If he had black gold meteoric iron, I would have the Millennium meteoric iron. Chapter 703, Black Gold Meteoric Iron, 2. The crowd all felt that the young man was here to find trouble. However, it was unlucky for him to meet Chu Yi, who had a weapon made of real black gold meteoric iron here. Master Du, the brother here is still young. I believe that he did not purposely offend you. Chu Yi looked at Master Du and explained nicely. It seemed that he was helping Yi Qingtang, but his words assured that Yi Qingtang was a liar. Chu Yi then smiled and looked towards Yi Qingtang. Young brother, I understand that you are still immature, but you should not be rude towards Master Du. Leave now and don't create any more trouble. Create more trouble? Yi Qingtang raised her brows slightly. Chu Yi had said everything for her and played the role as a good man. Yi Qingtang did not plan to explain anything. However, since someone wanted to use her to bring himself up, she was not so kind to be a stepping stone. Young Sir Chu? Yi Qingtang chuckled. Yes. Chu Yi nodded slightly. You said that your sword is made of black gold meteoric iron? Yi Qingtang asked. That's right. I heard that the black gold meteoric iron is strong and unbreakable. Since you feel that my dagger is fake, how about using your sword to compete with my dagger? Yi Qingtang smiled and said. Chu Yi frowned slightly. He took a glance at Master Du and noticed that Master Du was deep in thought. He then smiled and said, Young brother, since you insist, I agree. However, my weapon is extremely tough as it's made of black gold meteoric iron. If your dagger cannot take it and gets damaged, if it gets damaged, I will not say anything. But if your sword is broken, I will not complain about anything as it's an honor to help Master Du to prove the authenticity of the sword. Chu Yi smiled as he was very confident with his sword. Okay. Yi Qingtang nodded and took back her dagger from Master Du. Please, young Sir Chu. Chu Yi smiled. He lifted his sword and split down towards Yi Qingtang's dagger. Everyone's sight was fixed on Chu Yi and Yi Qingtang. Even Master Du was also contemplating. Master, that dagger. Du Xing wanted to say something. Master Du shook his head and said, We shall see first. Du Xing then kept quiet. Chu Yi lifted his sword high up and split down at the dagger. When the two weapons clashed, a loud clatter followed. As the clatter was heard, a cold gleam suddenly shot out from the point of collision. Everyone was stunned at that moment. Chu Yi, who was holding the sword extremely confidently, suddenly froze. The black sword in his hand that was made of black gold meteoric iron was broken into half, and the dagger was still intact in Yi Qingtang's hand. It seems like your sword is not that tough. Yi Qingtang raised her eyes and smiled at the shocked Chu. The confidence on his face was replaced by astonishment. He gazed at the broken sword in his hand, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. How is it possible? Chu Yi could not believe that his sword was broken. Chapter 704, Black Gold Meteoric Iron 3. The crowd was also stunned. They thought that Yi Qingtang's dagger would definitely be broken. How could Chu Yi's sword break first? Only Master Du nodded his head slightly. He seemed to have predicted the outcome. Young man, you really forged this weapon? Master Du looked towards Yi Qingtang and asked. Yi Qingtang nodded. I forged the dagger using black gold meteoric iron in combination with spirit crystals. Master Du's eyesight changed as Yi Qingtang finished her words. Spirit crystals were completely useless for normal people. However, Master Du was trying to mix spirit crystals into the materials to forge weapons ever since half a year ago. There was no outcome until now. When Du Sheng passed him the dagger previously, Master Du knew that the dagger was made of black gold meteoric iron. However, it was mixed with other things that he did not figure out. Yi Qingtang's words answered Master Du's question. However, he did not expect that someone had figured out the method now. Young man, who is your master? Master Du asked. Yi Qingtang thought for a second and smiled. My master is Ao Yuan. Ao Yuan? You are Master Ao's disciple? Master Du was shocked. Ao Yuan was the most famous blacksmith on this mainland. His forging ability was beyond the Grand Master's level. From the legend, every weapon that Ao Yuan forged was a rare treasure. Even the half-completed products could be compared to those divine weapons. However, Ao Yuan had disappeared for years. People from the super sects also could not trace him. Yes. Yi Qingtang nodded. Yi Qingtang had never met Ao Yuan before. She just wanted to prevent some trouble by saying his name. It would take a lot of effort to convince others about her forging skills at her age. Anyway, Ao Yuan had disappeared for so many years, and Yi Qingtang did not hear anything about him even after 200 years in her previous life. She could use his name to save herself from some extra trouble. Master Du was surprised. Though he was still doubtful, the forging skills demonstrated in that dagger erased most of his doubts. Master Du's forging ability was way beyond others. Ao Yuan was the only one who was better than him. The skill of forging using spirit crystals could only be invented by Ao Yuan. No one else could figure that out before him. However, Master Du did not believe her so easily. He looked at Yi Qingtang and asked, since you said that you are Master Ao's disciple, do you know the Black Heaven forging skill created by Master Ao? The Black Heaven forging skill was created by Master Ao. Normal blacksmiths would never know that. Master Du had met with Master Ao before and heard something about the Black Heaven forging skill from Master Ao. Yi Qingtang smiled gently and said, the Black Heaven forging skill that Master created uses the extraordinary flame as the foundation. The key part is the process of quenching. Yi Qingtang explained fluently. She heard about the Black Heaven forging skill on the second mainland in her previous life. Though Ao Yuan's forging skill was superior, it was only limited to this mainland. There were many more skillful blacksmiths on the second mainland. His Black Heaven forging skill was not something significant to Yi Qingtang, who lived for 300 years in her previous life. Chapter 705, Forging 1. You really are Master Ao's disciple? How is Master Ao recently? Master Du asked. Everything is good. Yi Qingtang fooled Master Du, but her face was still calm. Master Du and Yi Qingtang were chatting with each other, but Chu Yi, who wanted to look down at Yi Qingtang, was now pale. He stared at the broken sword in his hand and listened to the conversations between Yi Qingtang and Master Du. He could feel cold sweat running down his back when he heard that Yi Qingtang was Ao Yuan's disciple. If Master Du was the finest blacksmith in the Nine Knights dynasty, Ao Yuan would be the god of forging on this mainland. Chu Yi could never imagine that the mediocre young man would be Ao Yuan's disciple. May I know what brings you here today? Master Du looked at Yi Qingtang and smiled. I want you to help me to forge a sword, senior, Yi Qingtang said directly. What kind of sword? Master Du was curious. As Ao Yuan's disciple, he should not need others to help in forging. A sword made of the Millennium Meteoric Iron, Yi Qingtang said. When Yi Qingtang said that, gasps rang in the entire forging workshop instantly. Millennium Meteoric Iron? Did I hear it wrong? Millennium Meteoric Iron? This guy has Millennium Meteoric Iron? Everyone felt that it was insane. Yi Qingtang's identity as the Ao Yuan's disciple had already shocked them previously, and the words, Millennium Meteoric Iron, really caused them to be mad. Only a countable few on this mainland could use the Millennium Meteoric Iron to forge weapons. Nothing was as rare as Millennium Meteoric Iron on this land. Even Master Du was shocked by the mentioning of Millennium Meteoric Iron. You have Millennium Meteoric Iron? Master Du stared at Yi Qingtang in surprise. Yi Qingtang nodded slightly. Master Du then understood the reason why the young man wanted to look for him. The method of forging using Millennium Meteoric Iron was extremely rigorous and complicated. Though the young man was Ao Yuan's disciple, based on his age, he had yet acquired the method of forging using Millennium Meteoric Iron. I know how to forge using the Millennium Meteoric Iron. However, why do I need to help you with that? Master Du looked at Yi Qingtang and asked. Master Du, I think he's bluffing. Chu Yi sneered before Yi Qingtang could say anything. Master Du took a glimpse at Chu Yi. Master Du, Master Ao has disappeared for years. Many people have also pretended to be his disciples as well. Why do we need to believe that he is Master Ao's disciple just based on his words? It seems like I can also say that I'm Master Ao's disciple. Chu Yi shook his head and said. Master Du was in thought after hearing Chu Yi's words. Do you have any proof when you say you're Master Ao's disciple? Master Du stared at Yi Qingtang and asked. Though she knew something about the Black Heaven forging skill, that could not be the solid evidence. There is no proof, Yi Qingtang said. He, without any proof, you can say anything you want. Do you know the reputation of Master Ao? If you were really his disciple, why would you come and look for Master Du to forge weapons? Chu Yi laughed coldly. Chapter 706, Forging 2. Yi Qingtang took a glance at Chu Yi coldly. Chu Yi was hard to fool with. Just as he said, she did not know Master Ao. It was just a lie that she said in order to be closer with Master Du. Master Ao's disciple cannot ask Master Du to forge a weapon? Do you mean that even a disciple of Master Ao is more skillful than Master Du? Yi Qingtang's lips curled and sneered. Master Du looked towards Chu Yi after Yi Qingtang finished her sentence. Don't bullshit. I didn't mean that. How dare you to pretend to be Master Ao's disciple? You totally did not respect Master Du at all. Where are your manners? Chu Yi scoffed coldly. Master Du, the price that I'll offer will definitely not disappoint you as long as you are willing to forge a weapon. Yi Qingtang turned to look at Master Du and smiled as she did not bother to talk to Chu Yi anymore. Price? What a joke. Based on Master Du's reputation, what tempting price can you offer as a liar? Chu Yi said. Since you can't show any proof that you're Ao Yuan's disciple, find me when you're able to do so. Master Du was very impatient. Please leave now. Master Du waved his hand. It seemed that he was very unpleasant towards Yi Qingtang. The crowd all started making fun of her when Master Du ordered her to leave. Such a joke. How dare he call himself Master Ao's disciple? I have never heard that Master Ao had any disciple. I think he's just bluffing to gain more attention. The crowd started discussing among themselves. Please. Du Sheng walked forward and said indifferently. Wait, don't you want to know what my price is, Master Du? Yi Qingtang smiled. It seemed that she was not bothered by Master Du's attitude at all. However, Master Du did not say anything. He did not even bother to look at Yi Qingtang. Leave now. We're not interested no matter what you're offering, Du Sheng said impatiently. Is it? How about Millennium Meteoric Iron? Yi Qingtang's lips tugged up. Du Sheng was stunned after hearing Yi Qingtang's words. He looked towards Master Du instinctively. The Millennium Meteoric Iron was a rare forging material. It was very limited on this mainland. Almost no one was willing to use it to forge a weapon or Dharma treasure. If yellow-grade weapons could be mixed with a little amount of Millennium Meteoric Iron in forging, they could be top-grade yellow-grade weapons. Thus, There were no words that could describe how rare the Millennium Meteoric Iron was. Even the Bliss Forging Workshop did not own any Millennium Meteoric Iron. Master Du took a glance at Yi Qingtang. He sneered and did not speak. That's another lie. He lied that he was Master Ao's disciple and that he owned the Millennium Meteoric Iron. Now that his lie was exposed, he still claims that he has the Millennium Meteoric Iron. I don't believe that he can really take out Millennium Meteoric Iron. What a joke! Even the Bliss Forging Workshop does not have any Millennium Meteoric Iron. Millennium Meteoric Iron could make yellow-grade weapons into top-grade with just a few grams mixed. Chapter 707, Forging 3. Master Du stared at Yi Qingtang coldly but did not say anything. From his perspective, Yi Qingtang was just bluffing. Even Master Ao himself might not own a few grams of Millennium Meteoric Iron, not mentioning Master Ao's disciple. Master, Du Sheng looked towards Master Du. Master Du sneered. Du Sheng, do you believe that he has Millennium Meteoric Iron? Du Sheng shook his head. Du Sheng had followed Master Du since he was young. He learned many forging skills, and he was very clear what Millennium Meteoric Iron was. How dare you to continue bluffing here? Since you say that you have Millennium Meteoric Iron, I'll give you a chance. Take out your Millennium Meteoric Iron now. If you don't have any, I will not go easy on you. Chu Yi shouted in anger. Yi Qingtang sized up Chu Yi and uttered coldly. Who are you? You don't even deserve to have a look at the Millennium Meteoric Iron. You are seeking death. Chu Yi suddenly raged after hearing Yi Qingtang's words. With a clang, his sword was pulled out by his waist. How dare you? Do you know what place this is? If you want to fight, go outside. Before Chu Yi made the next move, Du Sheng rebuked. Chu Yi kept his sword back into the scabbard when he realized that he lost control. He folded his fists and said towards Master Du, Please forgive me, Master Du, I just could not tolerate him bluffing in front of you. Master Du did not say anything. Master Du, is this enough? Yi Qingtang did not bother to confront Chu Yi. Instead, she took out 250 grams of pure black Millennium Meteoric Iron from her space ring. The moment when the Millennium Meteoric Iron was taken out, the temperature in the Bliss Forging Workshop suddenly dropped. It seemed that winter arrived as the surrounding was freezing. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the meteoric iron in Yi Qingtang's hands. They all frowned as they did not know what kind of meteoric iron that was. The Millennium Meteoric Iron was too rare. They had all heard about it, but no one had seen it before. Even Du Sheng, as Master Du's disciple, also had not seen Millennium Meteoric Iron before. At the same time Yi Qingtang took out the meteoric iron, the indifference in Master Du's eyes was replaced by astonishment. Based on Master Du's experience, he was certain that Yi Qingtang was holding Millennium Meteoric Iron. The Millennium Meteoric Iron was cold in property. Around 250 grams of them would be enough to lower the temperature in the surroundings. Millennium Meteoric Iron. You really have Millennium Meteoric Iron. Master Du said surprisingly. Chu Yi and the rest of the people were stunned as they heard Master Du's words. This guy really has Millennium Meteoric Iron. If others told them that was Millennium Meteoric Iron, they would not believe them. However, Master Du confirmed that, and he was definitely correct. Master Du, this is the down payment. If you're willing to help me to forge a weapon, I will offer another 250 grams, Yi Qingtang said and smiled. The way everyone looked at Yi Qingtang changed. He can offer 500 grams of Millennium Meteoric Iron as payment. Chu Yi stared at the Millennium Meteoric Iron in Yi Qingtang's hand closely. If he could, Du Sheng, send the guests off, Master Du Sheng suddenly said. Oh, leave now. Master will not help you even if you have 5 kilograms, not to mention the 500 grams you offered. Du Sheng nodded and spoke to Yi Qingtang. Before Yi Qingtang said anything, Master Du frowned and said, I mean this young man can stay. Send off the rest. Chapter 708, Extraordinary Flame, 1. Du Sheng was slightly stunned, and he flashed an apologetic smile at Yi Qingtang rather awkwardly. Very quickly, Du Xing walked to Chu Yi and the rest and said, "Please." Since Master Du had already given the orders to chase the visitors away, everyone did not dare to stay any longer and could only leave. "Alright. Sorry to bother you, Master Du. When it's convenient for you, I'll come and pay respects again." Chu Yi cupped his fists and subsequently left the Bliss Forging Workshop. After leaving the Bliss Forging Workshop, Chu Yi glanced at the workshop coldly, and an icy smile hung on his lips. Today, Chu Yi was not depressed over Master Du's rejection but unknowingly excited instead. That fellow could take out 500 grams of Millennium Meteoric Iron from his space ring so casually. It seemed that there was even more Millennium Meteoric Iron in his space ring. In the Bliss Forging Workshop, Master Du led Yi Qingtang into the back of the hall while the blue-haired girl was told to remain in the front of the hall. "You said that the payment is 500 grams of Millennium Meteoric Iron earlier on. Is that still valid?" Master Du asked Yi Qingtang. "Of course." Yi Qingtang nodded with a smile. "Junior, although the Millennium Meteoric Iron is a treasure, an extraordinary flame is required to forge the Millennium Meteoric Iron. It is difficult for ordinary flames to refine it." Master Du hinted at another meaning. Since this person could take out the Millennium Meteoric Iron, he must have some extraordinary flame ingredients with him as well. The Millennium Meteoric Iron would only have its worth when an extraordinary flame could be started. Otherwise, it was ultimately a useless metal. "Junior, not to hide from you, I have no use for these Millennium Meteoric Iron of yours. I don't have the fire source of an extraordinary flame. Even if I obtain this Millennium Meteoric Iron, it is still impossible to refine it." Master Du shook his head. "So your meaning is?" Yi Qingtang asked. "If you can find some fire sources for an extraordinary flame, you don't need to give me 500 grams of Millennium Meteoric Iron as payment. Just 3 taels are enough." Master Du answered. No matter how good a meteoric iron was, there was no use if there was no way of refining it. "Are you talking about this?" As Yi Qingtang spoke, she flicked her wrist, and a golden flame emerged in her palms and swayed energetically. "This is?" Master Du stared at the golden flame in Yi Qingtang's hand, and astonishment filled his eyes. Although Yi Qingtang did not possess an extraordinary flame, the might of the flame from her ultimate origin skill was not any weaker than an extraordinary flame. In the next second, an inexplicable excitement emerged in Master Du's eyes. "My flame compares favorably with an extraordinary flame and can refine the Millennium Meteoric Iron," Yi Qingtang said with a smile. "Not bad." At that instant, there was a change in the way that Master Du looked at Yi Qingtang. It was as though he was inspecting a certain treasure. "Master, so about building a weapon?" Yi Qingtang felt a little unnatural with Master Du's gaze. It was as though she became a piece of superior quality meat. "That's a small matter. What is your name, little brother?" Master Du asked with a smile. "Yichen." Yi Qingtang replied. "Alright, Brother Yichen, forging a weapon is a small matter. Brother Yichen, I wish to collaborate with you." Master Du's eyes twinkled. "Collaborate?" Yi Qingtang was confused. "That's right." Master Du nodded with a mysterious expression on his face. "There's a dragon vein. That place has a gathering of the richest spirit energy of this mainland. There are countless treasures in the dragon vein. However, that dragon vein is cornered by the Peerless School, Biming Manor, and even the Phantom Valley forces. Many years ago when I was in the northern region, I found another tunnel that connects to the dragon vein by chance. However, that tunnel is blocked by a massive rock made from Millennium Meteoric Iron. That massive rock can only be destroyed with an extraordinary flame. As long as we use your extraordinary flame to destroy the massive rock." Excitement was written all over Master Du's face. "I need to think about it," Yi Qingtang said. Although Yi Qingtang was extremely interested in the dragon vein as well, if it was really guarded by the Peerless School, Phantom Valley, and Biming Manor forces as Master Du said, sure. "There's no hurry. No hurry. Brother Yichen, let's refine the weapon first. We'll talk after it," Master Du said with a smile. Before Yi Qingtang could speak, Master Du said again, to refine a weapon with a millennium meteoric iron, we will need a complete proposal. Give me half a month's time, Brother Yichen. After I'm done with the proposal, you can come here and use your extraordinary flame to assist with the forging of the weapon. Well, settle on this then. Yi Qingtang nodded. Not long later, Yi Qingtang turned around and left the Bliss forging workshop. As the forging of a new weapon was more or less settled, Yi Qingtang finally planned to head to the Falling Sky Valley, but before that, she still had a small matter to settle. She looked at the silent and obedient blue-haired girl who had been following beside her and was a little awkward. She could not possibly bring her along, could she? Where's your house? Do you have any family? Let someone send you back if you want? Yi Qingtang spoke. The blue-haired girl looked up and replied obediently. Can you send me to somewhere with a sea, benefactor? You just need to send me to the seaside. See? Yi Qingtang was rather curious. This lady was not in a hurry to go home and was looking for a sea? However, she did not think much about it. There was a sea at the back of the Nine Knights dynasty, and it was convenient to send this lady there. Then, Yi Qingtang immediately brought the blue-haired girl to the sea behind the monarch city. The surface of the vast sea sparkled, and the sea breeze was refreshing. When the blue-haired girl saw the seawater, a glint flashed across her eyes, and she bowed to Yi Qingtang slightly. Thank you very much, benefactor. Without waiting for Yi Qingtang to return to her senses, the blue-haired girl jumped into the sea directly. Once the blue-haired girl entered the water, her legs suddenly turned into a gleam of light without delay. However, in the next second, an icy blue fish tail flashed across the calm sea surface, and countless water beads scattered in the air. In the reflection of sunlight, the water beads glistened in the colors of the rainbow. Yi Qingtang was dazed. What the hell is that? Mermaid? The little white tiger mumbled when it saw the fish tail that flashed by. It was said that in the sea connecting the mainlands, a group of mermaids who lived in the sea still existed, though no one had seen this clan before. Yet unexpectedly, Yi Qingtang rubbed her temples in speechlessness. What exactly did she rescue? Rumors have it that the mermaids are very powerful. Why did she end up being sold by a human? Yi Qingtang did hear some legends about mermaids in her previous life but had never seen them before. Unexpectedly, after her rebirth, she actually rescued a mermaid after going through a strange combination of events. The little white tiger said, "That is in the sea. Once a mermaid is on the land, all their skills will be lost unless they wear a special item that can maintain their powers. I reckon that it was the first time that this mermaid went on the land, and she probably did not know about it." You do know a lot of things. Of course. I'm a fiend celestial beast. What do I not know? The little white tiger wagged its tail proudly. A laugh escaped from Yi Qingtang's lips as she shook her head. Fortunately, it was on land. If it was in the sea, those slave masters who caught the blue-haired girl would probably be beaten to a pulp by that young girl. Looking at the figure that gradually swam further away, Yi Qingtang spoke. Forget it. Let's head to Falling Sky Valley first. The little white tiger did not say anything and followed Yi Qingtang. Just as they left, the blue-haired girl who had swum a distance suddenly poked her head out from the surface of the sea. However, the gentleness and obedience from before had long disappeared from her exquisite face as a sharp look flashed across her eyes. Damn it! Why did she not know that her skills would actually be suppressed on land? She was really careless and almost got attacked by these humans. Subsequently, she looked thoughtfully at the back view of the person who was gradually disappearing away from the shore. Chapter 711. You will not die if you don't seek death. 1. After returning into the monarch city, Yi Qingtang brought the little white tiger straight to Falling Sky Valley. She had the Millennium Meteoric Iron in her hands and was acquainted with Master Du now. It seemed that there should not be any problem to enter Falling Sky Valley. But just as Yi Qingtang just left the street of the monarch city, a few figures suddenly followed behind her. Senior Brother Chu, does that fellow really have Millennium Meteoric Iron? A youth in the Tiangang sect uniform asked Chu Yi as he fixed his eyes on Yi Qingtang not far away. Chu Yi laughed coldly and nodded while looking at Yi Qingtang. In the Bliss forging workshop earlier on, he already knew that this pretty young man possessed the Millennium Meteoric Iron. The Millennium Meteoric Iron was extremely precious, and he would obviously not let it go easily. Furthermore, Chu Yi narrowed his eyes slightly. This fellow caused him to embarrass himself in front of Master Du just now and ruined his meteoric iron sword. How would he let him off so easily? He should have quite an amount of Millennium Meteoric Iron. You will go there with me later and steal his Millennium Meteoric Iron, Chu Yi said. After leaving the Bliss forging workshop, he immediately found a junior brother from the same master in the Monarch City, and both of them came over together, this time with the intention of robbing the fat sheep before them. But looking at the path he is taking, it seems that he is heading towards Falling Sky Valley. Could she be a Falling Sky Valley disciple? That youth said hesitantly. Falling Sky Valley and their Tiangang sect were comparable in skills, though their relations had always been far from good. They were currently in Falling Sky Valley's boundary. If that young man was a Falling Sky Valley disciple and others in the Falling Sky Valley discovered them, they would not gain any benefit with just two of them. You're worrying too much. He is not a Falling Sky Valley disciple and is merely an ordinary itinerant. Why are you nagging so much? If we let him run away, we will never have a chance to obtain Millennium Meteoric Iron in our lives. You must know that if we can wield a weapon made from Millennium Meteoric Iron, it would be extremely grand and impressive, Chu Yi said impatiently. Upon hearing the words, Millennium Meteoric Iron, the youth had a thought in his mind as well. The two of them nodded immediately. They were both at the first heaven of martial chi level 3 currently. Apart from the disciples of large forces, in the entire Nine Knights dynasty, an ordinary itinerant could not be their opponent. As Yi Qingtang headed towards Falling Sky Valley, she suddenly sensed two unusual auras behind her. She stopped and turned around. In the next instant, Chu Yi and that youth immediately appeared in Yi Qingtang's line of sight. When Yi Qingtang saw Chu Yi, her brows raised automatically. Could it be that this bastard saw through my identity and are after us? The little white tiger asked quietly when it saw Chu Yi once again. Yi Qingtang looked at the delusional little white tiger speechlessly. It was really thinking too much. Chu Yi had never looked at it properly from the start to the end. All right? We meet again. Chu Yi looked at Yi Qingtang, who stopped in her tracks, without bothering that his actions were discovered. What business do you two have? Yi Qingtang asked with a poker face. Chu Yi laughed. Little brother, you ruined my sword in the Bliss forging workshop just now. You couldn't have forgotten about this score, could you? Chapter 7:12. You will not die if you don't seek death, too. That sword was bestowed to me personally by my master and has a special meaning to me, yet you ruined it like that. It would be inappropriate if you don't give me corresponding compensation, wouldn't it? Yi Qingtang looked at Chu Yi without emotion. She never thought that this Tiangang sect disciple would actually be so shameless. Before the sparring, they had already agreed that no one would be responsible regardless of whose sword was broken. Yet this Chu Yi actually came looking for trouble? Yi Qingtang was not a fool. When she heard Chu Yi mentioning compensation, she knew that he had taken a fancy on her Millennium Meteoric Iron. Oh, so how do you want me to compensate? Yi Qingtang said flatly. Chu Yi and the youth beside him exchanged a look, deeply satisfied with Yi Qingtang's amenable attitude. I'm not asking for much. As long as you give me all the Millennium Meteoric Iron in your hands, this matter can be considered to be over. Chu Yi spoke relatively generously as though his demand had given Yi Qingtang a lot of face. However, in Yi Qingtang's ears, this was unbelievably ridiculous. What if I don't compensate? Chu Yi's eyes sharpened. If you don't compensate me, don't blame us for being hard on you then. Then, Chu Yi shot a look at the youth, who immediately unsheathed his sword, putting on a clear, threatening stance. I'll give you two options. First, hand over the Millennium Meteoric Iron, and we will be compassionate enough to spare your life. Second, we will kill you and then take the Millennium Meteoric Iron. Live or die, you decide for yourself. Yi Qingtang looked at the two domineering people before her, and her lips curled into a seeming smile. I choose the third option. Yi Qingtang's eyes turned cold immediately. I want the Millennium Meteoric Iron and your lives. How cocky! Chu Yi scoffed coldly. Junior brother, there's no need to go easy on her. Since she is so confident, there's no need for us to say any more bullshit to her. Chu Yi and that youth immediately wielded their swords and charged towards Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang stood rooted to the ground as she swept a nonchalant look across the two figures dashing towards her. Come at me, reckless people. The little white tiger immediately opened its mouth as it watched the two people charging towards them, wanting to spit all over their faces. However, Yi Qingtang lifted her hand and stopped the little white tiger. There's no need. In the blink of an eye, Chu Yi and his junior brother were already right in front of Yi Qingtang, and two swords stabbed right towards her chest. A glint flashed across Yi Qingtang's eyes, and she suddenly raised her hands. Clang. Two clear sounds rang in the air all of a sudden. Yi Qingtang used two fingers from each hand to clasp the two extremely sharp blades effortlessly, freezing the two knives in midair. What? Chu Yi was stunned as he looked at Yi Qingtang in disbelief. How could it be? Yi Qingtang's eyes flickered, and her smile deepened. It's my turn. The moment she spoke, an overbearing aura suddenly exploded from Yi Qingtang, surging directly towards Chu Yi and his junior brother like an enormous wave. At the same time, their swords crackled and broke into countless broken shards. Chapter 7:13. You will not die if you don't seek death. 3. Yi Qingtang's shocking aura crashed directly on Chu Yi and his junior brother, and they were hurled several meters away. Both of them fell on the ground heavily and puked blood. Half-step Yin Yang perfected lord. Chu Yi crawled up from the ground with a pale complexion. At this instant, there no longer was any arrogance on his face as before. He widened his eyes at the young man in white in disbelief as astonishment filled his eyes. Didn't the aura that suddenly erupted belong to a half-step Yin Yang perfected lord? Chu Yi would never have dreamed that this refined and pretty young man would actually be a half-step Yin Yang perfected lord. Senior brother Chu. She is a half-step Yin Yang perfected lord. That youth was completely flustered. They originally thought that their target was an ordinary young man, but unexpectedly, she was actually a domineering half-step Yin Yang perfected lord. Given their cultivation levels, how could they contend against such a powerful figure? Run! All color had long been drained from Chu Yi's face. He never thought that the person he belittled would actually be a half-step Yin Yang perfected lord. If he knew that from the start, he would not have dared to offend her no matter how bold he was. However, it was already too late for them to escape now. Yi Qingtang was not one who would let these two off easily. She lifted her legs slightly and shuttled to the front of those two people. She raised her hand and slapped the back of those two youths' head. Blood spattered out instantly all over Chu Yi's face. Chu Yi felt as if he was soaked in ice water, and his whole body shuddered. Looking at his junior brother's dead body right before him, Chu Yi's legs wobbled, and he fell on the icy ground with a thud. You cannot kill me. My master is a Tiangang sect elder. If you kill me, my master and Tiangang sect will not take it lying down. Yi Qingtang looked at Chu Yi coldly without a trace of warmth in her eyes. Let him go? If she let him go that was when Tiangang sect would not let her off, wasn't it? Yi Qingtang did not wish to say any more things to Chu Yi. She took a few steps forward to Chu Yi with aura already condensed in her hands. After seeing Yi Qingtang's murderous intent, Chu Yi gasped and tore a talisman that he had been holding in his hands previously. A ball of light suddenly shone. Yi Qingtang squinted her eyes and faintly saw Chu Yi attempting to flee when the light ray appeared. A murderous intent emerged in her eyes, and she leapt towards Chu Yi. Chu Yi fled at top speed, not daring to remain any longer. A silver shadow suddenly flashed by in front of Chu Yi, who felt an excruciating pain in his throat before crashing on the ground before he was able to see what that silver shadow was. Yi Qingtang, who chased over, was surprised to find Chu Yi on the ground and paused in her tracks. When she saw the silver shadow that suddenly appeared, delight filled her heart. Xiao Guai! Yi Qingtang widened her eyes as she looked at the silver wolf who stood in front of Chu Yi majestically. The silver wolf that disappeared for a long time suddenly appeared before Yi Qingtang in a domineering and impressive manner as when it left. A bright trace of blood could be faintly seen on the silver wolf's front paws. Chapter 7:14. The silver wolf. Chu Yi's neck was cut by the silver wolf, and he collapsed on the ground. The silver wolf's sharp claws tore his neck apart, and a large amount of blood was spurting out of the wounds, dyeing the ground below him red. Within a few seconds, he was out of breath. Yi Qingtang did not care about Chu Yi's life right now. She stared surprisingly at her regained treasure. Xiao Guai, how come you are here? Yi Qingtang took a step forward and went in front of the silver wolf. She sized up the familiar figure, and her eyes were filled with joy. The silver wolf stood in front of Yi Qingtang calmly. Its eyes scanned through Yi Qingtang and then landed on the little white tiger behind her. It just took a glance without any further reaction. Yi Qingtang did not expect that she would meet the silver wolf here. Based on the silver wolf's reaction, it recognized her as well. Yi Qingtang did not bother about that. Beasts recognized people by their aura and not their faces. Even if her appearance changed entirely, as long as her aura remained, the silver wolf would be able to recognize her. Where have you been? I have been looking for you all the time. The coldness on her she had previously all disappeared now. She stared at and gently touched the silver wolf's fur as how she did in the past. She squinted her eyes in satisfaction as the fur slid through her fingers. The silver wolf just stood there and allowed Yi Qingtang's close contact with it. The little white tiger narrowed its eyes as Yi Qingtang touched the silver wolf. It stared closely at the silver wolf and was suddenly shocked. What the hell? How could it be this guy? The same time the little white tiger figured out something, the silver wolf's eyes met with its eyes. The little white tiger trembled as it could sense the warning from the silver wolf's eyes. The little white tiger felt complexed as it stared at the close interaction between the silver wolf and Yi Qingtang. She doesn't feel weird at all? While Yi Qingtang was immersed in the joy of the silver wolf's return, she did not notice that there was a man dressed in Tiangang sect's clothes standing in the woods 100 meters away. He stared at the corpses of his senior brothers in terror. He received Chu Yi's call earlier, but he was busy with something else and arrived slightly later. However, when he reached the place, he witnessed how Chu Yi was killed by the silver wolf. The Tiangang sect disciple was afraid that he would be exposed. He remembered Yi Qingtang's appearance and left. Xiao Guai, are you here to look for me? Yi Qingtang stared at the silver wolf closely, but she was still very curious. She thought that it was just a wolf with special fur, but the silver wolf always went missing. The last time the silver wolf appeared was at the Xianling sect in the formidable Heavens dynasty. How did it find her when she was at the Nine Knights dynasty? The silver wolf did not have any reaction, and its eyes glanced at the ring on Yi Qingtang's finger. Little White, you are the fiend celestial beast. Do you know beast language? Yi Qingtang suddenly had a thought and looked towards the little white tiger behind her. The little white tiger looked at Yi Qingtang, then the silver wolf, and said, "Fuck you, I'm not a wolf. How will I know what it's talking about?" She can neglect those details, but don't drag me alone. In the first place, Yi Qingtang did not expect the little white tiger to cooperate. She stopped asking and hugged the indifferent silver wolf tightly. She smiled and touched its smooth fur. The little white tiger was left aside by Yi Qingtang. Her eyes were totally fixed on her regained silver wolf. After a short while, the little white tiger took a glimpse at the silver wolf. A cold glint flashed across its eyes. The silver wolf was more serious as it saw the little white tiger's cold sight. "Come here, let me introduce you guys to each other." Yi Qingtang held the little white tiger's front paw and pulled it in front of the silver wolf. "This is my first spirit pet, but it was lost previously. Be kind to each other in the future," Yi Qingtang said seriously. "Be kind? I'm not interested." The little white tiger glanced at the silver wolf. Under the silver wolf's threatening sight, the little white tiger totally ignored the situation and yawned. What spirit pet? I think you should stay away from it. It has an anti-wife look. Nothing good will happen to you when you bring it alone. Both the silver wolf and Yi Qingtang were stunned as the little white tiger finished its words. Anti-wife. Yi Qingtang frowned. Anti-owner. The little white tiger contemplated for a while and changed its words. Yi Qingtang stared blankly at the little white tiger. Look at its lustful face. The little white tiger sat in front of Yi Qingtang and stared at the silver wolf directly. The silver wolf stared back at the little white tiger, and cold glints flickered in its eyes. How could you see that? I thought that you didn't understand wolves? Yi Qingtang was curious. Fuck you, I'm not a wolf, but I'm a beast. All wolves are lustful. I think you should chase it away. Is it not enough to have me alone? The little white tiger said. Are you jealous? Yi Qingtang smiled and stared at the little white tiger with interest. Your choice. The little white tiger shook its head. There's no time to talk anymore. Yi Qingtang did not bother to talk to the little white tiger. Golden flames emerged from her palm and burned Chu Yi's and another Tiangang sect disciples' bodies. She then brought the little white tiger and the silver wolf towards the falling sky valley. She was outside a huge mountain valley after half a day. The mountain valley was surrounded by stretches of mountains. Each peak was a sub-valley of the falling sky valley. The rules of recruiting disciples in the falling sky valley were very strict. Normal people might not be able to climb onto any peak, not to mention cultivating in the falling sky valley. The two of you wait for me here. Don't move around. I'll be back soon. Yi Qingtang looked at the little white tiger and the silver wolf and said seriously. Yi Qingtang was afraid that once she left, her Xiao Guai would disappear again. It was not very appropriate to bring two spirit pets along on the first visit to the Falling Sky Valley. It would need the Falling Sky Valley's approval. Even those renowned tamers had to leave their spirit animals outside. After Yi Qingtang left, the silver wolf's cold and ghostly eyes landed on the little white tiger. Do you know what the most painful thing in this world is? The little white tiger yawned and smiled at the silver wolf. The silver wolf was expressionless and did not seem to be interested enough to reply. The little white tiger smiled again and said, The most painful thing is knowing the truth before others, and no one understands. The more you know, the cleverer you are than the rest, and the lonelier you will be. Am I correct, demon god of the earth? Chapter 7:16. The Silver Wolf. 3. After hearing the little white tiger's words, cold glints flashed in the silver wolf's eyes. Its intense aura seemed to be able to enclose the entire world. Everything would tremble in fear under the aura. However, the little white tiger was calm and did not seem to be affected at all. You are the demon god, the supreme one in the demons. However, you evolved from demonic beasts. As for fiend celestial beasts, we are the paragon in the demonic beasts. My father was the emperor of the fiend celestial beast. There were 4 paragon fiend celestial beast, primordial divine dragon, savage rosefinch, 9 heaven tortoise, and the celestial white tiger. My father, as the celestial white tiger, had conquered the celestial world with the ancient emperor and the saint. I was born in the celestial world and came into the human world incidentally. My bloodline is pure. I'm the paragon fiend celestial beast which surpasses the bloodline of a normal celestial white tiger. Your threatening does not work on me. The little white tiger stared at the silver wolf and said, However, you are the most outstanding demon god in the human world when compared to the previous demon gods. As a demon god, if you want to leave the human world and enter the celestial world, you need to go through 81 calamities. I think the most you have gone through is around 70 calamities. However, before the little white tiger could finish its words, the silver wolf smashed the little white tiger with its paw. The little white tiger shouted angrily. Fuck you. How dare you to bully me just because I'm in my infant form? Good. You'll wait for my revenge. The little white tiger shook its butt and turned to walk backward, keeping a distance away from the silver wolf. The silver wolf took a cold glance at the little white tiger and did not move anymore. Yi Qingtang returned after a while. It beat me just now. The little white tiger jumped into Yi Qingtang's arms immediately. It stared at Yi Qingtang with its round eyes that were full of grievance. It beat you? Yi Qingtang was stunned as she saw how pathetic the little white tiger appeared. She looked towards the silver wolf instinctively. However, the silver wolf was indifferent. Why did it beat you? Yi Qingtang asked. Don't you know that tigers do not go well with wolves? That's for water and fire. Yi Qingtang shook her head. I don't care. It slapped me with its paw. I need to take my revenge. The little white tiger gnashed its teeth. Go ahead. Yi Qingtang looked at the tiny white tiger and then the imposing silver wolf. She then wanted to let go of the little white tiger. What's a tiger? Why should I be bothered by a wolf? The little white tiger suddenly shook its head and said rightfully. It could not beat the silver wolf. The little white tiger was still at its infant form. All energy in its body was used up. Any cultivator would be able to beat it. A fiend celestial beast at its infant form was almost useless. Let's go. Yi Qingtang hugged the little white tiger and waved towards the silver wolf. The silver wolf stood up and shook its fur. It followed Yi Qingtang slowly and walked towards the falling sky valley. Yi Qingtang entered the falling sky valley previously and explained her intention, hoping that she could enter the falling sky valley for cultivation. There would be a specialized warden that would be in charge of Yi Qingtang's assessment. They allowed the spirit animals to follow. Yi Qingtang arrived outside the falling sky valley together with the little white tiger and the silver wolf after a short while. There was a huge mountain valley in front of them. Many disciples were patrolling outside the mountain valley. You're here, Brother Yi. The disciple at the front smiled as he saw Yi Qingtang. Previously, when Yi Qingtang reached this place, she offered many things to these patrolling disciples in order to enter the falling sky valley. She also asked them to introduce a warden for her. Chapter 717, Falling Sky Valley, 1. Warden Xiong will be here shortly. Please wait for a while. The disciple smiled and said, Warden Xiong? Is his name Xiong Feng? Yi Qingtang suddenly asked. Yes. Yi Qingtang had spent quite a long time at the Falling Sky Valley in her previous life. Xiong Feng, Warden Xiong, was someone she knew. Yi Qingtang smiled secretly. Things would be much easier if the man was Xiong Feng. Within a short while, a tall middle-aged man with a full beard came over. The patrolling disciples stepped forward when they saw him. They introduced Yi Qingtang and then continued with their patrolling duties. Xiong Feng stared at the pretty young man in front of him. His eyes were filled with patience, and he said, Why do you come to the Falling Sky Valley? I am Yi Chen, and I want to enter the Falling Sky Valley as a disciple, Yi Qingtang said directly. When she just finished her words, Xiong Feng's face was extremely impatient. He sized up the young man in front of him and waved his hand. There's still half a month's time to the assessment time for new disciples who wish to enter the Falling Sky Valley. Why do you come so early? Go back and wait. Come here after half a month. Xiong Feng then intended to leave as he felt irritated. He was still thinking about why the disciples asked him to come out, but he did not expect that it was for this young man who wished to enter the Falling Sky Valley. A smile flashed across Yi Qingtang's eyes as she saw Xiong Feng about to leave. She immediately took out a bottle of elixirs from her space ring and stepped forward. Please wait, Warden Xiong. Did I not tell you to come back in half a month? What do you still want? Xiong Feng turned his head impatiently, but he suddenly saw Yi Qingtang handing over a bottle of elixirs to him. Xiong Feng's eyes flickered. He stopped and stared at Yi Qingtang with hesitation. This is... Yi Qingtang smiled and passed the elixirs to Xiong Feng. Warden Xiong, this is the Luyuan pill. It's very expressive to strengthen your body and your strength. Please accept it. Luyuan pill? Xiong Feng's eyes brightened. He focused on the physique in cultivation and required elixirs. He had heard of the Luyuan pill before. It was very rare, and normal elixir workshops were not able to refine it. There was supply from a few super sects only. It could be considered a rare and priceless item. Xiong Feng did not believe Yi Qingtang's words instantly. He opened the bottle and sniffed. As the fragrance entered his nose, his eyes were brighter. It's really the Luyuan pill? Xiong Feng held the elixirs in his hand. As he raised his eyes and looked towards Yi Qingtang again, the impatience disappeared and was replaced by a smile. Yichen, right? How can I accept such things? Though that was what he said, Xiong Feng had kept the Luyuan pill in his pockets as he spoke. Yi Qingtang's eyes were filled with a smile as she saw Xiong Feng's move. The easiest person who could be bribed in the Falling Sky Valley would be Warden Xiong. Though he was tall and strong, he was keen on gaining petty advantages. Yichen, I can feel your determination to enter the Falling Sky Valley. Since the mountains here are hard to climb and there's only half a month left till the assessment, I shall arrange a place for you to stay outside the valley. You'll stay there for half a month and join the rest of the candidates after half a month. Xiong Feng's tone was much gentler. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.